What is going on, guys? Hello. Welcome back to the channel. I hope my X-Plane sound is on. I think it's just abnormally quiet right here. Yes, it is in check. All right, that is good. Guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Excited to have everybody here today on this lovely Monday afternoon. How's it going? Dimitri in the house, Carta Joel, Sergey, what's up, man? Cosmic Twin, good to see you, dude. Alex K, what's up, man? This is X-Plane 11, not Microsoft 2020. Currently under NDA, can't really stream that one or else I'd get in trouble. Tony Doc Station, what's going on, man? Dougal in the house, how's it going, guys? What is up? I hope you're excited for today's stream. I'm very excited. Guys, we are back in Madeira, LPMA, and I had so much fun on that approach in here the last time. And I've just, for some reason, though, the landing just left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, I went and watched some YouTube videos, and to be honest with you, I think my landing was pretty darn, other than maintaining center line after touchdown, it was pretty comparable. I mean, I've seen some crazy touchdowns. If you just watch, it's kind of been one of my things now, but YouTube, trying to find all the HD Madeira landings on the guys coming in on that circle for 5. It's pretty crazy what some of these airplanes are going through with the winds and stuff. So I wanted another shot at this approach, and I didn't just want to do a random flight. So I got some freeware Tenerife scenery, which is really fantastic, and it's kind of an iconic airport. I'm sure you're all familiar with the KLM Pan Am disaster that happened down there at Tenerife. So we're actually flying in Tenerife North, which is where the accident happened. But great scenery, ultra high definition ortho scenery down there as well. And, of course, I know you guys are all waiting for the Toliss 319 1.4 beta first look. We're going to do that on leg 2. So I'm going to fly the 737 down to Tenerife, short flight, but beautiful. We're going to do a VOR, DME, no navigation option, no INS, no FMC, purely raw data. We're going to land into Tenerife, then we're going to turn around in the A319, and I'm going to show you guys some really exciting stuff for the Toliss 319 on the 1.4 beta. I think that airplane has got just what it needed with this update. So it's going to be fun. I hope you're ready to strap in and buckle up. I am an Airbus pilot. I am not a Boeing pilot, so I love flying the 737, but I know there's going to be some things I do wrong. I'm going to try to do my best. Oh, wow, look at the control tower. I just came in the control tower here. This is kind of cool. I'm going to try my best to not make a fool of myself, but we all know what can happen. So, FlyJSim 737-200, one of my favorite add-ons in X-Plane. Check this control tower. They got a radar here. Looks like somebody's desktop, and not quite sure what this is, but another radar image here. But that's pretty cool. So this Tenerife scenery is slightly different from the one I used last time. So the one I had last time had the nice volumetric grass. This one is, I think, thank you for the subscribe there, JSnap, appreciate it. This one has a much better rendition of the runway with the columns and just kind of the airport surface. However, what I didn't like about this one, and I liked in the other one, was the volumetric grass and the trees along the runway. I thought that was kind of cool. So we sacrificed that to get a little bit better looking scenery. I think it's a little bit better than the other one. Still, waiting for somebody, Orbix or Aerosoft, to just really pick this up and do an incredible scenery in here. I think it's sorely missed in X-Plane because after that approach, I mean, it is one of the most challenging approaches I did. So enough chatter. Let's go ahead and get on with the show here. JSnap also becoming a commercial pilot to the channel, man. Positive rate in chat. Thank you so much, dude. Exclamation point welcome for more information about your perks. One last thing I'll say here, house cleaning items as we look at Captain Joe's Air Berlin 320 over there. Rest in peace to Air Berlin. A couple house cleaning items. The V1 After Dark podcast with JSnap. You now have access to all the podcasts every month. I had it ready to upload and ready to go. However, I think it was Saturday night. Swappy, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the $1 bomb. Really appreciate it, man. He says, ready for stream. As always, got my first butter day in the Flight Factor. Excellent. In Corpus Christi, no less. Fantastic, dude. Thanks for all the tips and information you give. Please open flying school. Swappy, thank you so much for your generous donation. I really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the Flight Factor, and congrats on your butter. What I was saying, though, the podcast, I had it ready to upload, but then I believe it was Saturday night, Toliss, or Torsten from Toliss, the lead dev over there, he gave me access to the betas for the 319 and the 321 that are in beta stage right now. So I wanted to include those in my podcast. I think the changes are significant enough that I really want to talk about them a little bit in further detail. So hopefully I'll have that wrapped up tonight, and you'll get the podcast for this month tonight. So, all right. Enough now, for real, enough chit-chat. Let's get this show on the road, guys. We're in a cold and dark 737-200. We're just going to jump right into it. I'm probably doing stuff out of order. I try to watch Flight Tech to Sim as much as I can. He is your Boeing guy, but I'm just doing this for a little bit of fun today. So we'll get the battery on, and let's go ahead and arm the emergency exit lights, which they turn on. I wonder if that's how you're supposed to do that. And then we'll go ahead and fire up the APU. Low oil pressure, she's spooling up there. We'll get the APU online. I don't have a proper ground service for the 732. I apologize. So we're just going to have the doors open. We got the crew on board. They're just airing out the airplane. Christopher W., what's up? Madeira to Tenerife and back. Can't remember the ICAOs. Yeah, LPMA to GCXO. Those are the ICAOs. Captain Geo, what's up, man? Welcome to the chat, dude. Just getting fired up. What's new in 1.4? Kyle, there's a whole laundry list of items that we're going to go over. I'm going to say that when we're actually in the 319. Oh, love those APU sounds. So nice, so nice. Let's go ahead and wait for the APU bus light here to illuminate. And then it's pretty simple. We don't have any nav option. So you look around the cockpit, no FMC, nothing, guys. We are raw data, raw needles flying today. Tim, what's up, man? He says, glad you fly this beautiful aircraft. Thanks, man. I'm happy to fly this 7.3. I love the Fly J Sim stuff. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to turn down these overhead lights a little bit because we don't quite need them. Let me know how the audio is. I know sometimes I don't fly the 7.3, so I don't know how the audio is. We'll go ahead and turn the logo light on, even though it doesn't really matter, and we'll put the position light on. So we have our nice little lights out there. Excellent. And what else do we need to do on the overhead? We need to open up the APU bleed. Let's get the packs on so we have some air conditioning while we're on the ground here. We'll open up the isolation valve. Gasper fans. I think these come on 5 minutes prior to departure, so we'll turn them off right now. Just do a rough. All I use for the checklist, I use what FlyJSim gives. I think it's pretty good. So battery on, APU is on, stall warning check. So we would do all our checks actually. We can do them. They're very nicely modeled. So stall warning test over here. We can test the flight data recorder, airspeed mock, and then that would be, oops, I don't want to press that button there. I just did something with the CVR, but overspeed warning, you don't want to hear that. So all that's been tested. Emergency lights are on, passenger sign as required. So let's go ahead and we'll turn everything on here as we get ready to board. Window heat, oh, so the window heats do come on in the before start. We'll get those fired up then. Radio transponder set. We are going to be squawking. Whoa. Do not have my views properly set up for the cockpit. Sorry about that. We're going to be squawking 2000. That's on standby. That looks good. Parking brake is set. All right, so pretty simple. When we don't have a RNAV departure or anything to set up, it's pretty easy to set up because all we got to do is look at a couple of VORs. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that. We might need those lights. Let's turn the floodlight on. All right, let's look at our route of flight here. My dog just broke in instead of breaking out, so now the door is open, but that's all good. We're going to be taking off of 210 at 22. We'll probably use 24 for departure. Well, we could use 5 with a quartering tailwind. What was the way? Oh, 210 at 22. Oh, yeah, no, we're definitely going to use 24 for departure, so that might change our departure a little bit here. Let me pull up the route of flight. Pretty much everything that we're going to do is here. So airport, first things, I'm going to pull up the 10.9 page, so we have that. And then we're going to do departure. I don't believe we're using the Ortis. And we can use Ortis off of 5. Perfect. So we need to set up a couple things here. This is the Ortis departure off of the Funchal, or FUN VOR 112.2. So let's come down here. I think it might be set up. It is, because I already had it ready to go. So 112.2, we got to make sure we select the 180 course. That's what we are going to intercept outbound. 180 outbound, and that will take us all the way to Ortis. So the departure procedure off of 24, we're going to pretty much take off, make a left turn to heading 147. So I'm going to set my heading bug up right now, get it ready for departure, a 147. and then we'll read the charts and stuff when we get ready. Now, one thing I want to show you is going into Tenerife. It's a pretty short flight, so you can just connect the star to the departure. So the star to the departure of LPMA. So approach, arrival, and it's the Ortis arrival because we're coming in from Ortis. So we're basically, the departure procedure is going to take us to Ortis, and then we're going to track the 180 inbound to Tenerife, and then we're going to get on the VOR approach. So that's going to be fun. I just wanted to have that chart up there. LPMA 10.9 page. Everything looks good there. We're going to go off 2-3, so we're going to take out Bravo. We'll do full length, flip it around there in the U-turn pad. There's our maximum wind information. All right, so after takeoff, start the left turn as soon as practical to avoid high ground on the right side, so we will do that. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet, and a lot of downdrafts and updraft, crazy departure stuff, or crazy wind stuff to take into consideration here, especially in real life. In flight sim, it's not that big of a deal, it's just fun for us, but in real life, this is, you really got to be on your A game here. Track 147 to intercept the 180 radio. So that's pretty much it. What I will do on the ground, the last thing I'm going to do here is always, you have to, if you fly this airplane, and you especially are doing it without an INS or an FMC, you have to be ahead of this airplane at least 10 steps. The second you get one step ahead of the airplane, you're behind. And if you're on par with the airplane, you're really behind. And if you get behind of the airplane, you're going to crash. So to be ahead of the aircraft, I'm already going to set up the Tenerife North VOR, which is 17, happens to be in there. I did a one practice approach on this, so I have 117.7 for Tenerife. I'm going to put that in the active too as well. So 17.7 and 12.2. So it's active in, so Funchal is 112.2. Now I need to close my door real quick. Give me a second. Alright. Gotta lock the dogs out. We can't be taking stowaways from island to island up here. Alright, so pretty much we are ready to go. I'm gonna have the altitude. We're going alt to flight level 230 is set. And then once we are ready to go, I'll be able to get a bit more and chat with you guys. So I think that is pretty much all set there. Let's go ahead and run our takeoff speed. We're going to do a flaps 5 departure, set bugs, stab trim 5.6. Just click on the green thing here and it auto sets it for you. Beautiful. Of course, you do all your fire tests and things like that. Matter of fact, because this engine can catch fire on you, we'll do the fire test there. That looks good. And then we'll test the bottles. Excellent. So the fire test has been completed. Keep the floodlight on, but we don't really need the, we'll use a little panel lighting. Makes it easier to see. Alright. Bugs have been set. Payload, fuel. We need to set, let's see, how much fuel do we have? Total fuel 9.9 on the fuel. Is that enough according to SimBrief? It seems awfully low. I think we need about 12. So let's increase the fuel on board to 12.6. Perfect. Optimum altitude 34. We're not going that high. It's a short flight. And as far as cargo, we can randomize the cargo. Alright, that looks good to me. 19.7 CG. That looks pretty good to me. Nice loading, weight, and balance has been completed. Let's run a couple more checklists and get out of here. What's the song in the beginning? Philly, the song in the beginning is custom made for this channel, courtesy of Jeremy Harvey. He did a fantastic job on that intro music. I get hyped every single time. But yeah, it's a custom intro song from Jeremy Harvey. Jeremy Harvey Music. I believe he's linked in the description below too if you want to check out some of his other work. Alright, passenger side crowd, window heat is on, radio transponder is set, parking brake is set, APU has already been started. Engine start, beacon on, galley power. Alright, so we will set that after we close everything up here. So let's begin closing the doors. Okay, since we are retro, why don't we do a power back? You know, instead of using better pushback, we're going to do a power back out of here. Probably illegal. I would wager a lot of money that it was illegal, especially back in the day. I don't know. We'll see, though. But we'll do a power back. I've never done one in the 73200. But we'll do it anyway. We're going to do a straight power back, so no better pushback. Just wait for all the doors to close up here on our panel. Everything else has been disconnected there. Okay, good. So let's continue with the checks. Maintenance system is on real quick. Nothing to report. As you can see, I've put some time into this aircraft. And engine 2, I seem to not like engine 2. I've toasted it 11 times. And I think I had one hull loss, like, yeah, so we're on the second airframe. I did have one hull loss. I tried to land in, was it Telluride? In a snowstorm in this puppy. Yeah, it did not end well. So I did have one hull loss. Gone through 11 engines on the right side, but I love the maintenance stuff. It's really fun. All right, let's go ahead and fire on. The beacon light is on. Galley power is off. I never turned it on. Oh, no, it is on. There we go. Galley power can be off. Pack's off, so this is your Boeing thing here. Pack's coming off. APU bleed is on. 30 psi max. We got it. And we go ahead and fire them off. So engine start pressure is good. Safety zone is clear. Let's turn 2 like a Boeing. Nothing is illegal on a 732. I like it. Nice spool up there. Oh, you hear that pop? That light off? Fantastic. Wojtek, what's up, man? Good to see you here, man. Welcome to the channel. Boat oil pressure light is out. Let's go ahead and turn engine 1. N2 is on the rise. Wait for 20% N2. Listen to the light off. I love the light off sound. It's like a poof. Oh, just that poof. So juicy. There we go, ITT on the rise. N1 fan is turning. I love this aircraft. It is so well done. Looks like we got a good start on engine number 1. We'll go ahead and kill the APU. APU bleed, come off. Packs can come online now. Gasper fan is on. Pipa static heats. Yaw damper. Our cruise altitude, I should have set that. I said it's going to be 230. And we're in ground mode landing at 100 feet. Perfect. Overhead is set. And we're not going to extend the flaps until we accomplish our power back. Glenn Chambers says, whoever made this, thumbs up. You're not lying, man. Alright, so I'm going to release the brakes. Same procedure as in the 727. Cover your ears now. This is going to be loud. Wait a second. Why do we have every single light on here, blinding the terminal? We'll turn all those off. Alright. Cover your ears. It's going to get loud. Now we'll stow the buckets, add a little forward thrust. I'm going to turn it down because my ears are officially bleeding. My ears are officially bleeding. I apologize. But, I mean, how cool was that, right? All right, let's go ahead and extend flaps 5. Also, my favorite flap sounds ever in a simulator. We got to open this slide here, so flaps are coming out. Best flap sounds modeled out of any airplane across X-plane, hands down. Listen to the spool down of the engine of the flap motor. That little wind down of the flap motor, for some reason, just brings back so many memories to me as a kid, sitting right here on this window view and just listening to those flaps. Almost sounds like they're straining when they start to flying. FlyJ Sim literally nailed that flap sound, in my opinion. I think it's some of the best. All right, so I know you guys are saying it's loud, but I turned it down a little bit, so it should be good now. So flaps 5 are set. Let's go ahead and run through a checklist here, make sure everything else is good. All right, anti-ice as required. We don't need anything else other than the pitot heats. Flight instruments are set for departure. Flight controls, something we do need to check. Free and correct. Speed brake down. Stab trim set for takeoff. Flaps 5 at indicating. Galley power. We do need our coffee on board. Galley power is on. Should also do your gen checks, man. I haven't done that since like flying turboprops, coming up here and looking at your electrical stuff. All right. Electrical, no lights. Fuel heat is off. Hydraulics, pressure and quantity. Hydraulic pressure and quantity is good. APU is off as required. Pressure set for cruise altitude. That has been checked. Ground to flight mode into flight. EPR and bugs set. We are going to set those. So we are pretty much ready to go for a back taxi. EPR for takeoff is going to be 2.15, which is set there. Let's go. Oh, wow. Zoom view. Hello. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Taxi light on, and we're going to back taxi to, what was it, 2.4? 2.3. Yeah, see what I mean about the ground textures, though, here? The ground textures just aren't that awesome. But the rest of the airport looks pretty good. I can tell you already I'm going to miss my track IR on this flight. All Italia 319 there. Fantastic. We'll take Bravo back taxi 2-3. Lee Krantz says they will nail the Q400. I'll be the happiest man alive. I'm excited for the Q400, man. I'm super excited. Alright, these go to flight mode, I believe. We'll go ahead and turn all our lights on since we're entering the runway. We're going to take off anyway. We're going to back taxi as we get out here on the little elevated part of Madeira. Alex K says, FlyJ Sim is quickly becoming my favorite X-Plane developer. They are up there, man. I mean, the 7.2 is my favorite airplane in real life, and to have it modeled by them in the sim is fantastic. I love it. I love every bit of it. The only thing I don't love, I guess, is that it lacks a cabin, but I understand why they did it. Because, I mean, having these cabin views and the wing view here, it does add a little bit of immersion for me. Captain Elks, we doing 2 lakes today? Yes, sir. We're going to be in the 319 1.4 beta on the return flight. This is going to be an action-packed stream. I hope you guys are ready. Swappy says, what's the RVR and how does it affect the landing? And what is an ALS? RVR is runway visual range. It's basically a visibility issued in feet. And it's measured by transmissometers. Typically, once you go below a half mile, you'll start getting RVR reports. So a lot of the times when you do Cat 2, Cat 3, you're going to be looking at RVR. And the approaches are going to be limited by RVR, not visibility. You'll see the visibility requirement on the approach chart will say minimum RVR 300 or 600, whatever it is. And your company operations will also have limiting RVR capabilities. Some companies, you know, will hold you at RVR 600 or something. Alright, I'm going to make this turn here. Okay, that's not the runway. I was trying to line up on the edge line. That would not be good. New member, Russ D. Welcome to the channel, man. Exclamation point welcome for more information on your perks as a new member here on the channel. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. All right, we are lit up. Our lights are on. I'm going to do a flyby view when we take off. It's going to be loud, so I've adjusted the volume a little bit. Look at that flaps hanging down. But you may want to adjust your volume when I do the flyby view after rotation. Real quick, let's review our departure procedure. Remember, you can never get too far ahead of this airplane. All right, we're going to take off, and as soon as practicable, to avoid high ground on the right, we're going to make a left turn to heading 147. Heading 147 is selected. I'll put the flight director in go-around mode so I get a little reference. And actually, you know what? We'll just keep the flight director off. Left-hand turn, then we're going to intercept the 180 radial outbound, and that's going to take us out to Ortis. All right, let's do this thing, guys. Spool them up, 50%, let them stabilize. You really got to be careful on the engines here. They will overboost on you. There's 50. Let's go nice and smooth up to 2.15 EPR. Here we go. Thanks for the subscribe, Andy.
Look up.
I'll be very careful. 2.15. There it is. 80 knots, thrust set. Here we go. Oh, fantastic. I feel so low in this airplane.
V1. Rotate.
Up we go. Probably a tail strike. Positive rate. You're up. Here comes a flyby shot. Gotta love it. All right, here we go. In the left turn as soon as practical. I believe this is how I had an engine fire on stream once, by coming in here. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and bring those throttles back. There's acceleration. Let's come back to 1.95 on the EPR. Flaps 2. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I might have to activate my track IR for this. Flap 0. We're going to pitch up from 250 knots. There's 1.47 on the heading. Disarm the spoilers. Did I just deploy them? I think I just deployed them. There we go. Gear handle can come off. 240, 242. Up we go. We're on a quick after takeoff checklist. Seatbelts on, anti-eyes closed, open, landing lights are on, altimeters. Oh, that's descent approach. Whoops. After takeoff, seatbelts off, on, anti-eyes closed, open, gear up, lights out, flaps up, no lights. Hydraulic pressure and quantities are all looking good. 92%. 250 until 10. So we're looking good. Got a little off my heading there. Demetrius says, go easy on the flybys today. My tissue box is already low. Alright, let's go and get the flight director on heading. We are also going to go elevator IAS hold and aileron into heading select mode. So, we need to set the flight director pitch right about there. Here comes our... Oh, there we go. Already intercepting. I got to spin the heading knob over. I missed that intercept. I was going to explain the difference between the flight director and autopilot lights here. These are two separate indicators. This is what the airplane's doing. This is what your flight director is doing. You want these to match. When they don't match, something's probably not right. All right, so I'm gonna get that heading bug over on a slight intercept there. We'll also throw it into nav loc mode, and we'll put the VOR into nav loc mode. So now we've got green on green. The flight director is indicating what the airplane should do to track this localizer or this VOR radial. The autopilot is actively tracking this VOR radial. We're 7.8. I'm gonna go ahead and what's our speed? Yeah, we're 92%. Actually, we're looking good. Altitude hold is armed for flight level 230. What is the distance to Ortiz? 41 miles is Ortiz intersection. We also are going to be looking to pick up. I'm going to get rid of the airport here, LPMA. Get rid of that. Remember, we're looking to intercept the Tenerife inbound, 17.7. We put that in the standby. I'm going to put that here, so once I get active signal on DME2, I'll have the information there. Jimmy R says, Ninja sounds bring tears to my eyes. You and me both, man. All right, there's 10,000 feet. I'm going to slowly increase this airspeed bug there. The airplane's going to pitch trim down to match my airspeed. And logo light can come off, and wing light can come off. And you don't just want to rip this speed bug forward, like all the way up to 290, because then the airplane is, it's a dumber autopilot, right? So it will just trim for level flight and stop climbing if you just rip this speed bug all the way up. So you just kind of want a nice smooth inputs. Let's do a flyby view. Get those tissues ready. Ooh, nice crosswind already. This is juicy. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. All right, we want about 290 in the climb. Let's come back here to this juicy engine view. Look at the water. Island of Madeira in the background. Fantastic. Swappy, yes, what's up, man? Practical. Practicable is to be done or put into practice successfully. What is about, though, the new Beta 319? Libyan pilot, we're going to be in the Beta 319 on the return flight. And I have the changelog. We'll go over the changelog with you. Ear tissues too. Yeah, we definitely need ear tissues. You think FlyJ views are good? I think so too, man. This is one of my favorite views right here. This trailing edge. This is where I used to sit as a kid. I like sitting in the front, on the front wing as well. But I thought this one had more action because you get to look at the flaps and you get to see the reversers. When you're up front, it's super juicy too. But the only one, this is where FlyJ Sim, I wish they'd fix this. You have your slats here. They're clipping. This is clipping because of the flex in the wing. So you can see the slat looks a little funky there. But, I mean, if they could just fix that, I think it'd be 100% awesomeness. This view is good, too, because I do love looking at slats and the leading edge, especially when there's no winglet. I love the classic 7.3 wings with no sharklets, or I'm sorry, winglets, we're in a Boeing, with no winglets when you look at this view here. It just looks so long and, I don't know, classic. Look at that, water is freaking juice down there. All right, let's pay attention. 92% on the EPRs on the climb out. Or 92% on the N1, so we're going to set our EPR as a reminder. We don't want to exceed about 1.89. Bring those EPR bugs down. 16.3, and we're climbing up. We're out of transition altitude, so we can set 29902 in the barrel. Set you. 29902 is set over there, and I'm not worried about. I'll set the FOs too. What the heck? 2992. And we are out of here. German Harvey says you should have found the Star Wars livery for one of the airplanes today. Star Wars Day. Oh, that's right. It's May the 4th. You're right, Jeremy. I missed the beat on that one. Sam says, I love the old birds. I do too, man. They're a lot of fun. Flying Jackal, what's up, man? It's due to the flex. Ah, I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how one would go about that because the flex is fantastic. I'd rather have the flex than have, you know, a straight slat there. But you got to pick one. I'll take the flex over it, especially if you adjust your view. Like, This is another super, super juicy view. Let me put that window up. At least I think it is. Right on top of the wing. Oh, I don't want to go through the window. I love that too. See that little bow there? The texturing on the wing is just so much juice. I can't say enough good things. Look at this one with the sun on the back. Let's go through back through the window there. That is... that is just so juicy right there. I don't know how you're not smashing the juicy button when you see that. Sitting back in the back of a DC-9 felt like your head might explode. Sam, dude, you're not kidding, man. You're not kidding. Paul, you're out of tissues. Onto the emergency low roll. All right, we're gonna have a tissue emoji. We've got room for 3 or 4 more, so I think that's a perfect one. Definitely gonna get the tissue emoji. We'll create one of those. Jojos, what's up, man? Says, where to? We are headed down to Tenerife North, home of the infamous air disaster, one of the worst, or the worst in history, between a KLM 7.4 and a Pan Am 7.4. We're going to do a quick turnaround there in Tenerife. I've never been there in the sim, never been there in real life, but there's a really good freeware scenery for it, which I picked up. I think somebody recommended it in the Euro Tour section on the Discord as well, so whoever you were, appreciate it. But then I found that there's ultra high definition ortho for it as well. So I got the whole island in UHD ortho. It looks so good, especially when we depart on that 319 and that tap livery. Oh, it's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be great. There they start. Now the juicies are floating in. Can someone tell me who the 300 developer is? Yeah, it's INI Simulations, Alex K. INI Simulations. I'm super pumped for that as well. All right, we should probably check out what's going on here. We're 21.4, climbing 230. Altitude hold load is armed. We still haven't picked up our DME 2 yet, so we're still tracking outbound. I don't even know if we're on the chart here. Yeah, we're past Ortis because 51 miles. Ortis was at 41, so we're past Ortis. We're essentially just tracking to intercept the 180. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Madeira chart there. We are waiting to intercept the Ortis chart here. Here's 1,000 feet to go. There's the level off alerter. One little trick I like to do as well, I'm going to kind of roll this one down here. That doesn't really do anything. It just gets that flight director down. I kind of increase my speed slowly here. This is something I used to do a lot flying twin pistons on the older autopilots. If you keep that vertical speed below 1,000 feet, it just makes it easier for the autopilot, and it's just a smoother level off, and you don't run that trim wheel full blast all the time. Because if you increase the speed here, the airplane is kind of prematurely leveling because it's pitching for a faster speed. So I used to do this a lot in turboprops and twin pistons with the older style autopilots. Because if you just blast out 2,000 feet a minute in these autopilots and let it level, it'll do its job. But it's just, a passenger comfort thing. This is back in the day when pilots were actually pilots, right? So altitude hold is green. We're leveling 300. Now I'm going to put... So now you'll notice the flight director does not match the attitude indicator because I was controlling the flight director pitch command with this. But remember, this does nothing. This is what the airplane's doing. This is just a reference. So if we're in altitude hold, we got to put it in altitude hold mode. And now the flight director will match altitude hold. And there we go. We're matched up. Flight director indicators and autopilot, what the airplane is doing. I'm going to let the airplane continue to increase speed. We're going to go to about 310 knots or so, or I'm sorry, about 320 knots, and we're going to start walking that thrust back nice and slow. You don't want to rip it back. Very gentle with these engines. I'm going to come back to about 1.65 EPR. Let's see where that puts us. Maybe 1.7 EPR. We'll see what kind of speed that'll give us here. No auto thrust, I love it. Clear that low caution out of there. So now we're back down to 1.7 EPR. I'll set my little bugs here just as a reminder. We'll see what kind of speed the aircraft has. It looks like it's stabilizing pretty good. 320. We might still be increasing a tad. So I'm going to just... How about 1.65? We'll set the bugs for 6.5. I'm okay going just a little bit slower because it's a short flight. 1.65 is set. We're in cruise Seatbelts off. Smoke them if you got them. Some of you will get that reference. Flyby time. Oh, yeah. Did you guys hear that? I took a sip of my drink and I missed how awesome that was. Let's do it again. What? I might just do this the whole flight. Wow. Double check our speed. How's it doing there at 1.65 E/per? Holding about 322. And check this out. We have picked up our DME 2, which is our inbound course to Tenerife. 178 miles. If you don't have a displayed changeover point on your chart, which there might be one, I don't have one in front of me, a good rule of thumb is to just take the difference, the halfway point, right? So I'm 100. When these numbers are close to matching, I'm going to go ahead and switch over and track inbound to DME 2. So we'll make sure we are ready to go. I do have 17.7 in nav1 ready to go, so all I got to do is flip the transfer switch over. Everything else is looking fine and dandy. There's the left side. I like the right side better because we've got, where's that super juice view I had? There we go, right there. Look at the water. I mean, we could cruise outside, but we might be deaf by the time we got there. What water texture? They are, it's just an active, or not active sky, it's just a Lua script. And X-Vision with the Vivid solution, so yeah. Thank you, Dimitri. Dimitri's on it. The sledge says that speed trick is good. Yeah, it's gold. Yeah, man, it is. It really is. And it'll help you, even if you're in any airplane that's got a rudimentary autopilot, it will really help with the leveling capabilities. You know, you can even do this with the citation, the citation series I'm doing, if you're doing a vertical speed climb or an IAS climb. As you approach, I think the citation, it may have an earlier capture mode, but King Airs, any pistons, those rudimentary airplanes, they'll level regular, but when I flew freight and I was in the Piper Chieftain, it was actually mandated in our books that if you were going to use an autopilot level off, that you wanted to have the vertical speed below 500 feet per minute before level off. There was a couple instances where that trim started running, and then it would jam, or you get a trim runaway with a failure. That was that was before the Chieftain. That was in the Piper Navajos. So they kind of came up with a, you know, do the sub 500 thing so the autopilot trim isn't ripping. Dimitri says, let's get the likes up, folks. Captain working hard again. Definitely helps the channel. Definitely would appreciate it, guys, if you like the content. It does indeed help the channel, helps the channel grow, helps me out. So hit that like button. Guaranteed not to get coronavirus. I had Cartage of Wool. He disinfected it just before the stream. So no corona like button. Thank you for the subscribe there, Diago. Thank you, man. Jeremy Harvey says, my pilot friend was wondering why a captain came out of retirement to fly the Falcon and why Chewie didn't upgrade to captain. Maybe he failed upgrade. Yep. Maybe he failed upgrade, man. It happens. Selb says, get the jagged shadow fixed for Lua 11.4 if you're not running Vulcan. Yeah, I'm not running Vulcan. I might. I don't want to run. I think I already have a lot of Lua scripts. I don't want to add too many if I can help it. CRJ 200? The J Roland? Nah, man. Not for me. That plane it's good. And I know it has an FT-Sim pack now, but I just think it's just a little too outdated for me. There's better options, I think, for me personally. Yeah, English only in chat, guys. English only in chat, please. Thank you. All right, let's take a look, see what's going on up front here. It is a short flight, like I said. We're 150 miles out. We want to cross Tenerife. All right, so let's do a little pre-flight planning. Remember, we always want to be ahead of the airplane. So while I still got some time here in cruise, let's set up our Let's at least look at our arrival and our approach. We're going to do the VOR runway 30 approach, wind permitting. Alright, so this is our approach. We're going to track the 116 outbound with the 12 DME Arc to intercept the inbound Tenerife Los Rodeos VOR. Max altitude, or max holding altitude is 6,000 feet here. Let's take a look at our altitude. So basically crossing over the VOR, you can be as low as 4,500 feet on your turn inbound, and then you can go down to a 3,800 across the final approach fix. So, for simple math, I'm going to say I want to cross Tenerife North at 5,000 feet. So, in order to calculate a rough top of descent point in this airplane with no FMC or anything like that, we need to do a little bit of mental math. So, take your cruising altitude, 23,000 feet that we have. We're going to subtract the altitude that we want to get to, which is 5,000. That comes up with a difference of 2,700, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2,700. Oh no, I meant, wow, math. 18,000. So we got to lose 18,000 feet, right? You take 23 minus 5, 18,000 feet to lose. So drop the zeros, just call it 18. Multiply 18 times 3, and that's going to give you 54 miles for a top of descent rough calculation. Now what I like to do, 54 miles is a 3-degree path down to 5,000 feet. But let's throw in, we got to slow down. I want to be ahead of the airplane, so I want to add a little buffer. So I'm going to just add 10 miles, make it 64. Let's do easy math. I'm a pilot. Let's just call it 65 miles from Tenerife North, which right now is being indicated on DME 2. We'll start down on our descent. So 65 miles is our top of descent. And I'm getting ready to make the switch here. It looks like we have a good signal. I know I said wait till about the halfway point. We're pretty much there. So to do a proper changeover, first thing you want to do is select heading mode. So we got the heading matched up. We're going to go heading select. Now I'm going to switch my VORs over. I'm going to go to 17.7. And I'm tracking 180 inbound. Let the needle stabilize. And then I'm going to go right back into VOR loc mode. And now we are nav loc. We are tracking the 180 inbound. And you can see my distance to Tenerife matches my DME2 because now I'm tracking the same VOR. But that's redundant information, right? We always want to be ahead. So what's a VOR that we're going to need after Tenerife? We're going to need Los Rodeos here. We're going to need 16.2. So let's go ahead and get that dialed in to standby. Notice the light occupies or is showing you active. Standby over here. We're going to do 16.2. And I'm also going to put 16.2 in this standby as well. That way I don't have to dial any radios in when I'm flying the airplane. Now in a multi-crew environment it might be a little bit different. It'll be easier because you got two guys working, right? So that is pretty much set. 120 miles to go, so 65 is our top of descent. We're about 40-something-ish miles until we need to start down. Things are looking good. 326 knots. EEA, beautiful. Take a look at the little cabin here. Ooh, a little first class section. All my mods and sponsors, how you doing? Good to see y'all up here. What are we drinking today? Old classic cabins. And check this out, guys. You can even open the overhead. This is like a crew emergency oxygen and crew kit and stuff that they put in this one, most likely, because it's a little bit smaller than these. Look at the detail, the attention to detail. They even have that small bin right there. That's pretty cool. This classic orange and gray, it reminds me of an old Southwest, America West. Life vest under your seat, no smoking. All those signs are off. Alright, let's chill out here for a little bit. What should be the ideal vertical speed when descending? You know, it can vary, Swappy. In this airplane, you got to think about your pressurization as well, right? So, I never flew the 73200, but I'm going to just say, try to keep it under 2,500 feet a minute, because that's pretty You know, that's coming down pretty quick. I like to be in that 1,800, 2,000 feet per minute range. Plus 2,000 feet per minute makes it easy math, right? If I got to descend 10,000 feet at 2,000 feet a minute, how long would that take? 5 minutes, right? So there's that mental math again. A lot of you guys asked, you have to be good at math to be a pilot. And the truth is, not really. You don't have to have complicated, complex math. It's just the math that we use in aviation is simple math with sometimes larger numbers. So adding, subtraction, multiplication, and division. If you can do basic math, you're pretty much good to go. Now, in the modern jets, you know, in the Airbus, if you really want, I think the most modern, well, you know, the E-Jet is probably one of the most modern airplanes that I flew. But you look at the A350, 777, you're really not going to be using any math. So, Eager, what is the times 3? It's just called the 3-to-1 rule. 3-to-1. 3 degrees, 3-degree path, 3-to-1. Now you can change it if you want to, but most glide slopes and regular descents are planned at a 3-degree path. In fact, when I flew the Embraers, we had it in our company SOP that your descents were to be made at FPA 3 degrees. We had a little VNAV bug going on with some of the software and some of the Embraer 170s. We actually called them Embraer 180s because there are so many problems. You back off the gate and then you do a 180, go back to the gate. So we called them the Embraer 180 for a while. And then there was a bunch of other software issues that came up. So you had to, they stopped the use of VNAV temporarily and we had to use all FPA. Did pilots smoke on the flight deck in these? Absolutely, man. Smoke them if you got them. Any plan on bringing out the Zebo mod? Tesla guy. Not in the near future. That Zebo, man. I swear, if you don't fly the airplane for 3 days, you're out of date by about 20 revisions, which is a good thing. But I haven't flown. Yeah, I haven't flown the Zebo in a while. We might have to bust it out at some point. Let's take a look at our distance again here. 93 miles. Flyby shot. Things are looking good. Nice flyby shot. I'm going to try to go outside. Okay, so watch. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the volume to like 50%, or a little below that. Now we're going to go outside. It's still wild, but I can get away from it here. There we go. That seems better. Let's do a little bit of outside shot here before we get ready to get on the way down. Look at that HF antenna. I love the detail on this thing, man. I prefer using vertical speed to descent. Do not like VNAV, especially when descending with a tailwind. Yeah, vertical speed is good. You can get in trouble with vertical speed depending on the airplane you're flying and in thrust modes and descent modes. And matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about this in detail in the corporate jet series when we get to, you know, vertical navigation planning. I should probably talk about it for the Airbus too. But yeah, vertical speed is a way to do it. A lot of the 145 guys, all the 145 drivers, 135, for the most part, that's all they use with vertical speed. Do I like the 727? Absolutely, man. My favorite bird. Nice little weather reload there. Thank you, Active Sky. Hopefully the weather will be alright for our arrival into Tenerife. I like the sun on this side. Oh, are you serious? Active Sky? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Are you serious? I knew Active Sky was going to cause me an issue on this flight. Come on, dude. Really? I haven't had a crash in a very long time. RIP. All right, well, I guess we aren't going to be doing the VOR approach in the 737 because X-Plane has crashed. Wow. All right, guys, I'm going to throw up the be right back screen, and we're not going to let it put us down. We're going to load up the 319, and we're going to continue the stream in the Toliss 319 going back to Madeira. Man, that is just a bummer. Rip. I'm not even going to run Active Sky. I knew it. I had a feeling that it would crash my game. All right. Enough of that. I'm going to throw up the be right back screen, guys, and we'll get out of here. Thank you for the subscribe there, Angus. Appreciate it. All right. Be right back, guys.
Please check your quarantine scripts folder.
All right. Well, somebody heard that BSS back alive. Yeah, you heard it load in there. Guys, I'm really sorry about that. That is the first time that has happened in a long time during stream. But I just, I didn't want to say anything. I had this weird vibe that it was going to crash on that stream. I don't know why. I don't know how I could, it asked me to update, and it just was doing some weird things lately with performance issues with Active Sky, so I'm pretty much done. I think I'm done with it now. I gave you your last chance. Now, of course, load into Tenerife, and I want to show you my beautiful ortho, and the visibility is absolutely crap down here right now. So let me just make sure real weather is on. A broken, scattered cumulus. Wow. Okay, so I guess we're going to rock with real weather. I wanted to show you my beautiful UHD. But we guess, you know, we gotta get on with it. So, I'm gonna get this set here. Fly now. Get the Sim Toolkit Pro ready to go. It is ready. Overlay is on top. And ready to go. Michael, no, trust me, man, I would tell you. I'd let you guys know. Luckily, I haven't been plagued with that either. But, no, the X-Plane did crash, man. Alright. Let's fire it up, guys. We are in the TAP 319. Loving this livery again on the 319. And we are in version 1.4. This is the beta version for the Toliss aircraft. Now, this will be coming live here pretty soon. I'm sure pretty darn soon for you guys out there. So, I'm going to real quick, we'll read over some of the change log in flight. We'll read the whole thing, but I want you guys to pay special attention to the FMGC, or the McDo functionality is definitely been changed. They've redone some colorization on the panels as well, and a slew of other things. So we'll talk about all that in flight, but let's go ahead and hop into the pit here. BSS Sound Pack is alive, and let's go ahead and do a complete cold and dark startup in the Toliss A319. Come into the flight deck, 28 volts there, battery 1, battery 2, let's roll. Get that turned on right away. Nav logo light can come on, those can come off. Passengers off, cruise supply oxygen on, ground control on and auto. We're gonna have to we're not gonna wait for each one. Battery test, fire test, we'd of course wait for the GPU to power up and listen to all the horns. But I'm going to just go ahead and skip right through that step. So one thing that you'll notice off the bat is the quality of the screens and the colorization of the screens, I think, has definitely improved. And I don't know if they adjusted the actual colors of the fonts, but I think they look much better now. And this is a pure beta. This is with no additional Toga. I think it's auto-incorporated now. They've officially incorporated the texture mod that we first started using with Toga as a full-blown project, or full-blown included cockpit here. Now, check this out. Pop-up McDo. It matches. You know, for a while, I was harping on it, Toliss, because we had two different MCDUs. Now they match up. Perfect, and I think it looks much better than the other one anyway. We'll go ahead and get the radios on there. Everything else can be on, off, and that should be it for now. All right, let's go ahead and start programming in the box here. Captain Alex, do I think X-Vision is worth what it does and what it actually does? It changes the light. It changes the lighting and shaders, and Dimitri's going to be the one to answer that question for you. And changes your clouds. You have volumetric clouds, and it's basically the one-stop shop for your weather in the sim. I personally don't have it running during streams right now because I'm bottlenecked with my GPU, and I just don't think it would work very well with my GPU. So I've been on the fence though about doing it, but we'll see. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing fired up here. GCXO, and pull up my Sim Toolkit Pro flight plan here. Now I think the weather when we get to Madeira, hopefully it's blowing out of the north. If not, we're gonna make it blow out of the north because I want to do that circle to land 5 again. So let's go ahead and put in our air cycles up to date. That looks good. Initialize here, GCXO. Now you also notice that the MCDU input is not as laggy as the 319 used to be, which is definitely a welcome change. LPMA. Flight number. Tap 135. Cost index, we're going to go cost index 25. Cruise flight level is going to be 240. RRS align and confirm that, so that looks good. Initialize. What is the current weather here in Tenerife? Oh, it's right there. I already have it up. 300 at 12, so yeah, we'll depart off 30. And we're taking the, I believe it's the BIM 5, so let me just make sure it is before I put it in the box. Correct, the Bimbo 5. Insert that. Out to Casas, Bimbo, and then from there, we're actually going to load in the arrival. This is kind of one of those flights where they're short enough you pretty much combine arrivals and departure procedures to get the proper route. Now I want to land, what did it say the weather was? 200 or 210 at 20, so it's 20 knots in the wrong direction. When we get down there, I'm going to alter it because I do want to do the circle to 5 again. But we'll keep everything else the same. Alright, what was I doing here? Arrival. Big P Bimbo arrival. So the Bimbo arrival, we're going to hit Bimbo, and then it's going to take us to the VOR, and then we're doing essentially a course reversal. It's poorly depicted here, but you come into the VOR, you track outbound, you do a course reversal, and then you come back out on the 211. So it's not really depicted very well on the chart according to how the approach will be here in the box, and I'll show you why. But we're going to do the VOR 5 Alpha, BIMB 4 Alpha. And I want to do it from, I don't want one of those, so let's just insert that. Let's take a look here. So there's Bimbo. Oh yeah, we do want to change that. Arrival. Approach via, is it Abusu? Here the door's closing up. Is it the Fun 1? I think it's Fun 1, right? Yeah, Fun 1 has the turn, so insert that. Now let's take a look. There we go. So there's our course reversal. And essentially we're going to track outbound, and then we're back at 211. Now, with the new FMGC update, we also have secondary flight plan functionalities, and we have a fully functioning fixed info page. So awesome stuff here for 1.4 right off the bat. Let's go ahead and finish the proper load up, though. We'll put you back into ARC mode. So we've done that. Let's do a secondary flight plan initialization. We'll just do a quick air return GCXO to GCXO.
Donation.
Thank you, Aviation 2121, coming in with a $5. Oh man, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. He says, hopefully it will go better this time. Any preferences, opinions on the yoke versus side stick debate, especially the Embraer design as well? Well, after flying with a side stick in real life, I cannot imagine going back to having a yoke, man. It's just so claustrophobic, and you get so spoiled having a tray table, being able to put your feet up, do whatever you want to do. So I am side stick all the way now. And I did not like the Embraer handlebar Barbie style of yoke design. I didn't like that. It took some while to get used to. Alright, let me, oops, I totally tweaked something there on my other screen. Let me bring it back to normal view. Do I have to turn on all the screens to my company? No, because the whole dimming of the screens thing, unless you are, now, depending on your shutdown procedures, if you're doing a full cold and dark shutdown, you do have to turn the screens off. But the dimming of the screens, that stems from the old CRT displays where you could have burn through, and burn through was an issue. in the new displays, that's not an issue. You don't have to burn them down. That's why every time I get into a cockpit and I see, you know, the captain's freaking side over here like this, I know the guy that just flew the airplane in front of me was some old school MD-80 dude that you know, he's still stuck in the past. So in the current airplanes that aren't CRT, no, you do not need to dim them. Now on the shutdown procedure, yes, you shut them off. You turn it all the way to off. You don't dim them. You just shut it down. But most of the time, maintenance will go to the airplane before the first flight of the day anyway and do like what they call a wake-up check. So they'll get to the airplane, they'll turn the screens on, they'll get the GPU connected, and that way when the crew arrives at the aircraft, it's already in an awake state. Now, if you're at an outstation where there is no maintenance or something like that, then of course you'll probably do it yourself. But most of the time, it's rare that I have to adjust the dimness of the screens. But that comes from the old CRT displays. That's where that comes from. Alright, where was I at here? Oh yeah, we were in the secondary flight plan. Secondary flight plan, GCXO, GCXO. We're just doing a quick turn back around here. We'll do the ILS Zulu 30 if we got to come back around. And for perf data, we'll just put the approach perf information in there. One thing I wish, I am running the BSS sound pack. I wish he would include the button sounds when you're on the pop-up. So they work here in the VC, in the virtual cockpit, but man, that's an FSX term. But you can't hear any click sounds on the 2D pop-up, and that's just a BSS thing. MDA, we'll just do a quick 200, and we'll call it good. So, secondary is set. RadNav, nothing to hard tune out of here. Technically required, but I will make TFN big. Whoops, nope, not what I wanted. TFN, hard tune, Tenerife North. So I've got that hard tune just in case I need it for some reason. I have distance of DME from Tenerife. Taking off 30, we don't have to arc. It's just basically a right-hand turn back to the VOR, and on we go our merry way. So RadNav is set. Init B, GPS primary. That means our RRS has been aligned. Excellent. All right, Mrs. Jungles, welcome to the stream, Mrs. Jungles. I'm sure all you don't know her, but she's a good friend of mine. A good friend of my wife. Or wait, no. A wife of a good friend of mine. Trying to say that. Thank you. Just looking forward to your second crack at Madeira. Appreciate it. Me too. Hopefully I don't screw this one up. We're going to take 125 people, aft cargo loaded 2,000, apply those load settings, 6,000 on the fuel. That should be good enough. We'll set both of those. Another thing here in the chains, look at this, use Toga thrust is an option. So, matter of fact, why don't we just, it's a second crack at it. Oh, we're 0 fuel weights over the max, so we can't take, wow, we'd be weight limited there, huh? We'll take 137. We don't need that much cardio. Apply those load settings, 6,000 on the fuel, and then we're going to do a flaps 1 Toga. I love this. You can now make the performance numbers come out with Toga information, so that's another change here to the 319. Really welcomed. I think the Toliss 319 V-speed calculator is perfect, no issues with it, and the speeds that I get seem to match what I would anticipate getting from a real ACARS release. So I'm good. I'm happy with the V-speed calculator here. 31.6. Let's finish this up. 56.3, I should say, for the 0 fuel weight. And 31.6. Wow. They changed this around. This is something I just noticed. This is how it should be. 0 fuel weight CG. So way back in the day, I think when Airbuses first came out, it was flipped around. And it bothered me because every time I came in here to input my numbers, they were backwards. But it looks like it's fixed now, so that's fantastic. That's one thing I didn't even catch before. Block fuel 6.0 gives us about 50 minutes extra time, 52, perfect in case we got to do a go-around. So perf data has been set. Let's put in our V-speeds, 34, 34, 38. No flex, flaps 1. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet. Flaps 1. Thrust reduction 3430. Guys, we are set up and ready to go. for our second crack to Madeira. We're going to go flight level 240 in the box there. Let's fire up the APU and get out of here. Pumps are coming online. Seatbelts on and auto arm the emergency exit lights. Waiting for the flap open message. The sled says almost as if you got to ask for what you wanted. Yep. Yeah, man, I'm impressed with this update. I think this is a very welcomed update for the 319. The 319 really is, I don't know, it's I don't know where it ranks in my favorite Airbus 19, 20, 21. I'd have to say it might be my favorite one to fly, and then the 320neo, and then the 321, and then a 320 CEO. That would probably be how I rank my favorite airplanes to fly in real life. And so having a quality 319 in the sim, this just makes me excited because I think it brings new life to this airplane, brings it up to the 321 standards, and even more. They've done a little bit more to it. All right, APU looks like it is available. There it is. With APU bleed on, we'll disconnect that. We can get rid of all the ground handling. Y'all can drive away. Doors are closed and armed. Transponder will arm you. Squawking 2000. Let's plan our pushback and get out of here.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
We're going off of 30, right? So we're just going to go straight back. I don't know how they do this here. That's an edge line, isn't it? Yeah. Oh well, we'll just do straight back on the 90. How's that? Borman, welcome to the channel, man. Positive rates in the chats. Welcome to the channel, dude. Exclamation point, welcome. For your new perks here. Glad to have you on board, man. Alright, beacon light can come on and make sure everything is, we don't need you anymore. And I want to manually close these doors so they don't open when we do replays. Close them up, hook up the tug, and let's get out of here. Looks a lot darker than the previous pack. I don't know exactly what they changed color-wise, but I do know it's in their changelog. I think the cockpit looks really nice. And this ships with the airplane default now. So if you're a 319 owner, you don't have to download the Toga mod. It is included with their airplane. I bought this just to get the sharklets. I really should fly it. Yeah. And they do, unlike, you know, the mod, or the Batavia mod. Thank you for the subscribe there. Appreciate it. On the 320, the sharklets do affect the performance of the aircraft. So whether you run sharklets or wingtip fences, you do have a proper modeling. We got Dimitri down here doing 360s on the stair driver, so we're just going to go ahead and hide all of them. Tug is connecting.
And bypass being circuit. Release parking brake.
All right, sir. Brakes release. Clear to push.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Right here. All right, he's going to push us back. We'll get out of here. Boy says, "Hi, thanks. I watch Flight Deck to Sim." He always says, "Go support V1 Sim," and I really like it. Awesome. Yeah, Flight Deck to Sim. Speaking of, unfortunately, I didn't get to do the 7.3 landing there, and then see his critique of my Boeing procedure. We might have to do another Boeing flight. But yeah, Flight Deck to Sim is fantastic, guys. If you haven't heard of him already, shame on you. And if you haven't, definitely go check him out. He is a real-world 737 captain, so he's basically the polar opposite of me. But he makes some fantastic content, and definitely he's a supporter of this channel, and I'm definitely a supporter of his channel. I think you guys, a couple of you guys actually have been coming over recently because of his shout outs. So I appreciate you checking me out. And if you haven't heard of him, go check him out. Did they fix the reflectiveness on the throttle stick in this update? I noticed they fixed it in the 321. OT, honestly, I don't know what you would be referring to. I'll show you I'll give you a close-up here, though. Here's the throttles and the stick. Let's see. I don't think they look wrong. I think they look pretty good to me there. What is the altimeter here? It's definitely not 2992. It is 30-06. I know we should be in the other QNH or HG. Is the engine mod going to be the same? What do you mean by performance enhancing? Yes. So, unlike modding the 320, when we put the the IAE engine mod on there, it doesn't do anything, right? It's just cosmetic.
Complete. Set parking brake.
Brake set, clear, disconnect.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
So the 320 mod, the IAE mod and stuff we put on there, it's just cosmetic. The Toliss, when you toggle, you have a toggleable options here. So we'll see where I can find it here. Aircraft configuration, engine type. Right now I have it in auto, but you can select CFM or IAE. You can select SATCOM antenna, sharklets, or wingtip fences, and it will affect the way the aircraft handles. So disconnect my hand signals up front, and it will also change the instrumentation up here. Like we're rocking the CFM, so we have N1. If I put IAEs, we'd have the EPR gauge up front. So it does, unlike the flight vector, it does actually do something. Can you show the response curve for pitch and roll, control sensitivity?
Disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
All right, bud. Thanks for the smooth push. We'll see you next time. We're firing up engine 1. So we're going to go to ignition start. We got our bleed pressure. Cranking 1. Wrong side. There she is. Boeing counterpart instead of polar opposite. Thank you, Dimitri. Appreciate it, man. It's the vodka, man. I'm gonna need another one here in a minute. I didn't do the bourbon today just because I felt like it was a little early for a dark liquor. So I said, "What the heck? Let's do a clear liquor." So I went the vodka today. And but yeah, thank you. He is a Boeing counterpart. That would be a better way to describe flight deck to sim.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
I'm sure if you haven't heard of him already, I mean, you guys need to check him out. He's fantastic. Thank you for the subscribe there, iLap. Appreciate it, man. OT says, seems like they fixed it. Previous versions, the reflectiveness didn't look very good. Awesome. Flying Guitarist says, the CRT dimming reminds me when you talked about guys who put the flight number in the RadNav page. Wow, I'm surprised you remember that. But, dude, that is so funny. Yeah, so if you guys aren't familiar, wow. You guys pick up on some key stuff that I don't even remember that I said. Yeah, I also know this is, and they go hand in hand, guitarists. So check this out. Like if I come into a cockpit and the screens are like this, I damn well know I need to come over here in this RadNav page and clear out the flight number, because old Captain I don't even think of it, Antonelli or whoever it be, he's probably 64 years old and 364 days, ready to retire. He's got his flight number all set up over here in the ADF. Well, you'd have to put a /ADF there. So it'd be like, I'll show you exactly how they do it. So it'd be, slant 157, or we'll just say 177, right? No, it's not in database. What's our flight number? 357? Not in database. Okay, fine. Be that way. 345. Oh, you got to put the identifier in the Toliss. Anyway, so he would have this over here, this needle on ADF, and the flight number. So I know that, okay, I got to come in here, turn the screens up, and then I see this. And I tell you, in my Airbus career, I don't know if I've ever needed to put the ADF bearing pointer on the ND. Now, we've done some overlay approaches. Maybe I would have had to, but you come into the cockpit and you see this ADF needle up here. It's just like, okay, come on. Then I look at the logbook, I look at the can of the airplane, and I can see who flew it, and I see his seniority number, and it's, he got hired in 1970. But yeah, man, that's funny that you remember that. Good stuff. All right, we need to start another engine here. Enough jibber jabber. Fire up engine 2. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Did I hear vodka? Tesla guy, you're absolutely right, man. Well, vodka. Well, vodka today. BSS for the win. Yes, sir. Oh, Paul says, I meant the process to apply Neo IE mod to the 319 would be the same. As the 320, the IAE mod is the same, I believe. I think it is the same. I have a 319 video on my channel about how to put the IAE mod in there. But yeah, as long as you have the IAE engine selected and you have you just mod the IAE engines to the free ones, you still have, it will still change the flying characteristics on the Toliss. Because as long as this box says IAE, then you're going to get the performance from the IAE. Alright, looks like we're good fire up on number 2. X-Plane 1972, what's up, man? Stop by the channel. Guys, X-Plane 1972 is another great streamer. I believe you're streaming later tonight in the 787. I'm going to check that out, man. Let's do Flaps 1 here. Good to see you here, dude. I'll definitely stop by your stream, man. I want to see that 787 later. But, all right, we are on board. Flaps config 1. I just feel so much more at home in the Airbus. I love it. Lights are, this can come off here. Taxi light can come on. And brakes released. Let's go. We're taxiing the 3-4. Or 3-0, excuse me. Love that livery too. Alright, so I'm trying something new with my rudders. After watching and observing that last landing that we did into Madeira, I don't know if this is going to bite me in the butt or it's going to make the situation better, but I've removed, I can already see that I'm S-turning across the taxiway. I've removed all the curve I had on my rudders, even though that I don't have spring and I have to move them with my feet manually. I'm removing the curve because I think my input is not representing what I feel should be happening, and I think that was due to my curve. So I don't know. We're gonna see. This may end up screwing us on landing, but we're gonna give it a shot. All right, let's go ahead and do our flight control check here. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, full. We're not gonna do the rudders because actually no, we're in the Toliss. We can. I forgot. So I've got my rudder disconnect bound, so we can do a full left, full right, neutral, rudder check. And wow, that seems super I can't even stay straight on the center line. Hold on. We need to, my rudder pedals can't handle that. Let's go ahead and do, just put a little curve in there. Oops, that's the throttle. Where are my rudder pedals? And response curve, I gotta have to do a little bit of a curve here. Oops. Nope, you go back up to normal. And we'll just do a, you know what, we'll do a linear. How do I make a, oh, add, there we go. So we'll do a, what the heck's going on here? We'll try that. Make it a little less sensitive. Let's do another rudder check here. Full left. That feels better already. Full right. Neutral. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of curve on there. Auto brakes max. Takeoff can... And cabin check is set. We'll do the rest of our flow. TARA. That can go to on. Auto. We'll turn the terrain on ND as well. We're ready to blast out of here. Vodka greater than Jet A1. I missed that comment, but that's pretty funny. Alright. Once we get up in the cruise as well, I will show you guys the full change log. But I did notice an increase in performance as well, and I don't know. I know right now with default weather and overcast, it's pretty, it's going to be hard on the system, but when I'm not streaming, I was getting a solid 55 FPS not streaming. And in the older version, the 1.3, I was in that 38 to 44, 45 FPS range. And I don't know if that has something to do with the textures or what, but I did feel that it felt like it was handling a little bit smoother. But the 319 to me never had issues anyway with performance. It always was way better on performance than especially the flight factor. All right, let's go ahead and light it up. Man, no scenery today. Might have to make a special long-haul flight here in a Pan Am 727 because I love my Tenerife Island UHD. Tor coming in with 100 Norwegian krones. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. It's got the flying emoji there, dude. I appreciate it, Tor. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your continued support on the channel. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get out of here, guys. We got our lights on. Listen to those BSS sounds. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Let me get my little ND screens set up. I haven't set them up yet. That way it makes it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing up front. Constraint mode is on. Ready for yoga? Oh, before we go, you guys see this PFD here? You see the attitude indicator with the black box in the center of the attitude? That is how it is supposed to be. The version 1.3, that was hollow. And it was just, it drove me nuts because it's hard to see already, just being in a desktop simulator. But when you don't have that black center part of that square, it can make following the flight director even harder. So very happy to see that they fixed that. All right, nose forward on the stick, spool them up 50%. You know what time it is. It is a yoga time. Oh, release. Had a improper brake release there on my part. Here we go. Man, Toga SRS runway. Auto thrust is blue. BSS is rattling my soul. I'm gonna have to turn it down here. I know. 80 knots, thrust set. Stick is neutral by 100. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. We're nabbing. Flyby time. Wow. You're gonna see some of my island. I just love the, and there we go. And there we go. That's such a bummer. I'm so excited to show you guys. All right, get a reversal of trend and airspeed before you bring that thrust lever back. There we go, I just see the arrow. I'll put it at MCT first. There's that positive trend and airspeed. Now we come right back into the climb V10. Thrust climb auto thrust is armed. We're on the flight directors. Oh, there we go. There's a hole in the clouds. Ooh, insert chrono emoji. Shoot. You guys in the damn chrono. I love it. Well, we saw the island for a little bit. It's almost Orbix quality. I mean, it's, as far as, you know, ortho goes. It's not Orbix. All right, here comes the turn. There's standard. Well, look at, if you look at my PFD and you look at my flight director, having that black center square, sometimes we refer to it as squeeze the black out of that PFD, because you got the flight director cross, right? And if you have it perfectly, in real life, you can see you take one black square to like 4 tiny black squares, like right there. That's perfect. And that's kind of what you're aiming for. Aim small, miss small, right? Here comes our slat speed. We'll go ahead and retract the flaps. And We're gonna have to make a turn here, so I'll keep that PFD up. We'll make the turn manually from right here. I love the way the 319 flies, man. Thank you for the subscribe there. Appreciate it, man. A little aggressive on the bank angle. Let's do a flyby shot of that. Alright, we're gonna have to turn down the sounds here in a minute. Here comes 10,000 feet. There you go. There's 10,000 feet. We'll just kill the lights. In the cabin. Here comes a 90-degree right turn. I'm already late on it. Basically an intercept. What we're going to do here, though, I don't want to fly all the way back around the island here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up a direct to. We're going to go direct to Bimbo insert. That'll clean up that departure. We don't have to fly all the way back around. Come back to the left. Autopilot 1. Boy! Coming in today, $6 bomb. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. He says, when or want to learn some Dutch? Try saying
Subscriber ahead. Look
Goedenavond
up.
means good evening. Flight deck to Sim tried saying it in the stream yesterday when calling Ehan. Goedenavond. Goedenavond. I don't know how to. What's a Dutch accent sound like? Goedenavond. I don't know. That's funny. Thank you for your support of the channel, boy. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you for the subscribe there as well, Greg. Thank you very much, man. Let's go ahead and turn some of these sounds down here. We're going to go, first I'm going to turn down my main sound. There we go. We'll turn that down a little bit. And then we'll come in here to the BSS sound pack. Oops. And let's just go ahead and go straight. Let's just go 50 across the board right now for cruise. And I believe, which one? Oh, weather is the wind noise, right? We'll turn 50 down as well. Make it a little bit quieter in here. Ears aren't blazing. Looks like a smooth ride in the climb out. Seatbelt sign off, flyby shot. We're outie. There we go. All right. OT says, is there any performance handling difference on the plane with a SATCOM antenna? You know what? I don't know. I don't know if that would be modeled. I don't know if that's something that you could even determine. Now, I'm sure there's some sort of performance penalty for having a SATCOM and the increase of drag on the fuselage, but I do not know the values of those, and I don't know if they would be modeled or not. I mean, it might be, but as far as a pilot's perspective, no, you can't feel a difference at all between having a SATCOM or no SATCOM. The cigar engines were just too powerful for the stream. Yeah, you know what? You're right, man. Those JT8Ds, I'm gonna have to do something. I'm itching to do that approach in that 7.3. We might have to do another Boeing stream here coming up. Does the overlay button on the FMS still say QVFY, or has it been fixed to OVFY? For overfly button. I will take a look at it when we get back in the pit, man. Am I on Vulcan? No, this is 11.4 stable. All right, let's go ahead and review the changelog here. Let me pull it up. Now, you're not going to be able to see it I don't think. No. But I will, I'll be able to see it here. Alright. So major new features in the 1.4 build, complete rework of the flight path computation backbone for more accurate computed path. That's going to basically be your autopilot, vertical navigation, lateral navigation computations. It's been reworked, a little bit more accurate. Addition of the Fix Info page. We're going to get into that when we plan for our arrival. We are going to be using the Fix Info page. We're going to be using the radials. We're going to be using the radians. I'm sorry, the radius and the radians in the Fix Info. That is fully functioning. There is also a secondary flight plan in the 319 now. Addition of standby compass and opening of the cockpit door, so you can drop down the compass and open the cockpit door. Reorganization of the ISCS for more intuitive operation, and I think it is that way as well. So situation, aircraft config. That's where you have the engine type, winglets or sharklets, SATCOM, a couple other options, auto saving, stuff like that. I guess mine is on every 5 minutes. That's cool. General settings, you've got your display reflections, window reflections, background glow. I like these effects. I like being able to adjust them, especially if you have a little bit of a weaker system. You might want to adjust that for performance. But pretty darn good stuff here. All the same here, I think, on this size. But I mean, you guys are familiar with the ISCS by now. One thing that didn't get added, and I'll hop it in the pit here real quick, is I wish that if you pressed the mechanic button here, that it would pop up your ISCS. Maybe a Toliss dev out there is watching, or somebody can. Maybe I'll shoot it. Maybe I'll shoot an email to them. But I just think I have it bound. I have the ISCS bound to my joystick. But anytime that you come in here, right, you're probably going to come in here for the ground service page. You're going to be connecting, disconnecting external power or air. Maybe you're using this pushback system. So pressing the mechanic push button up here on the overhead would be fairly realistic, because anytime that I press that, it's probably because, hey, I want to disconnect ground power, or I want to disconnect ground air, or something like that. So I start mashing that button to try to get somebody's attention. All right, we're leveling speed, Alt star. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign. Oh, it's already off. That's good. Leveling out in cruise. Absolutely fantastic. Out cruise, nice, smooth level off. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let's go back outside. Golly, that's loud still. Addition of Tokamak texture as baseline. So that's what I was saying. You don't have to install the mod if you don't have the Toliss 319 already, or you don't have the cockpit mod. It already is a baseline aircraft mod now. Minor new features include the rework of the PFD colors and landing system symbology. So the colors, that's where they did change the colors. And I thought they were different, but I wasn't sure if I was making it up for myself. But the colors have been reworked a little bit. I think they look really good now. Added a warning if experimental flight model is on to ensure that you should have it off. Adapted the aircraft to allow sounds and ground vehicles when using X-Plane 11 Vulcan, so some Vulcan stuff there. Some pause at top of descent, now stops 1 minute before reaching top of descent. This is one that I like. Smoother flight director and autopilot behavior. So in the 319 1.3, I noticed that sometimes that flight director would really deviate quickly, kind of jerky, and sometimes if the autopilot was engaged, you would get some radical movements of the airplane trying to follow that flight director. That has been remedied, and it's a little bit smoother now. Sound balancing rework, unfortunately, I have not been able to test that because I run the BSS pack. I can't say the BSS pack works just as fine because I'm running BSS with it. Allow brake pedal function with a single joystick axis. That may come in handy for some of you guys. Last three here. FMGS now supports runways with 2 different ILSs and will select the appropriate ILS according to the final data. So basically, whatever you have selected in the box, it will tune the proper ILS. The FMGS now supports computing the intersection between 2 airways when entering subsequent airway IDs. So I've done that in the 321 and in the 320 in the flight factor. When you're coming in here to your route section, and you're putting in your data, you can just put in the airways and it will auto-computate the intersection fix. And Dimitri says, can you please briefly demonstrate proper weather setup in the middle console? Yes, sir. I will throw that in there right now. And last one here, ISDS performance calculator now can be forced to use Toga thrust. We already did that on takeoff. It's fantastic. So that's your bug fix, and that's your majority of the fixes. It says bug fixes, too many to list. So a couple you wanted to see the difference between the big knob and little knob. Yes, that works now. So you can turn up the terrain and not the main brightness, and you can also adjust the PFD brightness itself. Let's see with the LS functionality, that looks good. All right, so Dimitri, want to see proper weather setup. So in flight, basic weather, you're probably going to keep it in calibrated. If you go +4, that's what we call scary mode. It basically makes little rain look like really big rain. So calibrated is where you want to be at. System 1, System 2, most of the time it's going to be System 1. Some of them, the majority of Airbuses that I've flown anyway, are System 2 is deactivated. System 1 will work. Weather turbulence or mapping mode, weather and turbulence or weather. You can do whatever you want. I just keep it on weather. Multi-scan auto. I went over this a while on one of the other streams. I'm not even sure if it works. Be interesting to see. Should have PWS on auto as well before takeoff. These get into a little bit more detail, but generally speaking, multi-scan auto is where you want to be unless you are manually taking control of the radar. If you want manual control of the radar, you're going to put this into manual mode, and you can adjust the gain and the tilt respectively. But multi-scan auto, majority of the guys keep it in the auto position. A GCS can stay in auto. I cannot remember what this acronym stands for. But yeah, you're going to keep that in auto. Your tilt, think of it as a pie wedge, right? So if you tilt the radar down, you can see a little bit further below the aircraft. If you tilt the way, well, let's see if I go manual mode. Let's go calibrated manual. Now I should have a display here indicating that I'm in manual radar mode. That does not appear to be simulated yet. But that, I think, I don't know if the 321 does it or the 320 does it, but you should definitely have a indicator here on your ND that would show you your manual. It would say man or man gain, and it would show you your elevation that you're scanning at. So, you know, +2, -1, whatever it is on your tilt. In cruise, you tilt it down a little bit. I think it will auto tune at -1.5 or something like that if you leave it in auto mode. But right now, since we aren't running active sky, if there is weather out there, we should pick it up. Weeb coming in with a $3 bomb. Thank you so much, man. He says, my son Tiago and I love your channel. Looking forward to the rest of the Corporate Jet series. Appreciate your support on the channel, man. Thank you very much for that donation. And yes, the Corporate Jet series, I love it. It's fun. Episode 3, I know you guys are wondering, where's episode 3 at? It's Monday. I'll be honest with you guys.
Subscriber ahead.
I actually had episode 3 done. It was uploaded to YouTube and I was ready to release it. Thank you for the subscribe there. I appreciate it. But I watched it again and I didn't like the quality of my edit. I said, you know what? I felt like when I did episode 3, I kind of rushed through it and it just didn't seem... I want the Corporate Jet series to be like one of the finer things in edited videos that I've done on my channel. You know, I have the original professional series, which definitely needs to be reworked, I think. But it just, the edit didn't jive well with me, so I didn't publish the video. I'm going to try to rework it and have it out definitely within the week for you. But thank you again for your support, man. I appreciate it. Yes, Tony Doc says the flight factor shows the tilt. Ground clutter suppression, yes, that's what GCS stands for down here. So that's pretty much always in auto mode. I don't know, unless you're trying to paint ships or something over the lake or over the ocean, you're going to keep that in auto mode. But yeah, the flight factor will show the tilt, and so will the real aircraft. It will show the tilt of the radar beam. Now, I don't know if there's any weather out there in Tenerife, in Madeira right now. But remember, it doesn't just show clouds. It won't show clouds. It shows a radar return. So you have to have some sort of precipitation, whether it be rain, heavy rain, snow, things like that, will show in the radar. There you go, definitely, yeah. Ground clutter suppression. All right. So I hope that answers your question, Dimitri, for weather radar. I can't remember which stream I did. I went really into depth about it. It's hard. I even thought about doing a separate video on weather radar usage, but it's really hard. I don't know if it's worth the time, because weather radar in X-Plane 11, it doesn't seem to work as, I don't know, it just didn't seem to work as well as in a real airplane to warrant a full video on it. Maybe as we go into Vulcan and things change, maybe that'll change, but just remember, red and yellow. Oh wait, no. It's what's the phrase? Man. Oh yeah. Red and yellow keep wings level. Oh no. Green and yellow keep wings level. Red and purple fly a circle. There you go. That's back from the old freight days. Green and yellow wings level. Red and purple fly a circle. That's pretty much all you need to know for X-Plane 11 radar systems. Alright, I keep talking, but we need to start prepping for our arrival, guys, into LPMA. So let's close that. Let's do a refresh here. How are we looking? 210 at 20. So I'm going to alter the winds at the ground level when we get a little bit closer. So I will alter the winds to be coming out of the north because I really want to shoot this approach. But we got to program the box here, and you're really going to see the difference here on the ND, the things I'm able to do with the beta version here of the FMGS. So we've got essentially it's a circle course reversal. So here's our bimbo arrival. And where's the approach? I want the approach. VOR circle 5, here we go. Boom. Alright, so we're going to come in over the VOR. We're going to do a course reversal at 3,000, come back around to the VOR. From there, you know what? We never reached top of climb, did we? Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we're in cruise. 240. Alright, so I'm going to put LPMA right here. And then let's go back to flight plan page, RadNav. We're going to clear that out. Auto-tune that. And let's scroll through this. So we have bimbo at or above 10, FUN, course reversal, FD211, back to the VOR. And then we have the missed approach, final approach fix at 3.6, which is MD211. So let's start with the fixed info page. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go L1, fix info, and I'm going to put in FUN VOR. Oops, forgot the F. FUN. Now from what we're going to do, I'm going to put a radial 211. That's the one we're flying outbound, right? So we know that's going to be our final approach course. And I also want a radius 3.6. Or no, I'm sorry, 3.6 is already indicated on our flight plan. What I want is right here, the 6-mile fix where I start my turn. So I want to have a 6-mile radius around my VOR. So when I look at my box now, there's the procedure turn, then we go outbound, and here we go. Here is the final approach fix, or I'm sorry, the minimum, the missed approach point. Geez. Missed approach point. So if you don't see the runway by here, you have to go around. If not, we're going to continue out until reaching 6 DME, which we have indicated here by the circle. We can also input that radial now. So I'm going to do FUN, point bearing distance, 211 at 6. And I want to put that after the missed approach. I want to put it right here. And I'm going to go insert. So now I have a waypoint there for starting the turn. We can also input GELO, G-E-L-O. And I want to put that right here. We're going to insert that. And then after GELO, I want to put ROSRO, R-O-S-R-O. This one. insert that. I made a mistake here. Let's see. We gotta close this one. Here we go. Close this disco. Connect the dots. Insert. Now what it's doing, it's gonna draw this circle, but we got to do a couple restrictions here. For GELO, I want to be at a max 160. Actually, let's make it a 150 knot constraint or less at 850 feet. And then we are also going to make the restriction of Rosrow vertical restriction needs to be 460 feet altitude constraint. Now you can see that circle will tighten in. And there you have the approach on our ND. Now we can't technically fly it in managed, and I don't know, I've never done the approach in real life, so I don't know if there's restrictions on it. I would imagine that most operators, I'm going to start my descent down to 12,000. Let's just do a vertical speed, because I haven't really been paying attention. Let's do a vertical speed 1800 and get down to 12,000. We'll make it 1,500 feet for now. So most operators, I would imagine, require you to hand fly this approach, just because of the way the winds are and the turbulence is down there. But you can still build it for a reference, and there you have it, a nice built approach. We also have the backup radial and radius, all things that you could not do before in the 319 FMGC. All right. So now that we've gone over that, let's continue the rest of our setup here. LPMA 05. What do we have for approach information? Let's take a look at the sim weather real quick, because I'm going to land northbound 215 at 20. So let's go ahead and customize, manually configured. We have few cumulus with bases at 1789. We're going to increase the bases just a little bit. Let's call it like $2,000 so we can see. And for the wind, we're going to make it a little bit more sporty because I want to definitely challenge myself on this approach. So we're going to do, I think the winds last time were 320 at 20 knots. That's a stiff crosswind. We'll do mild turbulence because the next point, and if you put that into moderate, it's insane. We'll do a little gusts. We'll do gust of 5 knots and shearing 5 degrees. Apply changes. Airplane is going to do some weird stuff here momentarily. But now we'll have the weather set properly for when we get into Madeira. So let's set that in here now. 320 at 20. That is a stiff crosswind, guys. Especially an X-plane. That's probably a 20 knot crosswind in X-plane. It's probably like 28 knots in real life. And I didn't even see what the temperature was down there. That's probably, I don't know, call it 10. That's probably warmer than that. Altimeter is 3006. Our reference MDA will be 1,000 feet. It's just a reference. All right. So our box is completely set up. And we are on our way down. Let's go ahead and... I think that looks good. We'll have to go all the way down to 10. Let's make it 15 with an open descent. Thrust tidal open descent down to 15,000. Here we go. Back to the chat. Rose Jackson, how are you? I'm doing good. How are you, Rose? Welcome to the channel. Aleem says wind shear. Yeah, we might get some wind shears down there. Unfortunately, Active Sky has lost its privilege. I don't know why she had to do that to me. You're talking about the thrust idle open descent. What does it say? Thrust idle open descent. Did it say something different before? I'm trying to scroll back in the chat. I don't know what you guys were talking about. Thrust idle and descent. There should be thrust idle, open descent. Some guys say throttle up des, which means like thrust idle, throttle, and then op des. Which is kind of annoying. Don't say it. It's not that cool. Just say thrust idle, open descent. All right, 17.8, descending 15,000. We need to be at or above 10, so let's go back to our arrival. We have plenty of time on the procedure turn to get down to 3,000. We'll set 30.08. Here comes a flyby shot. Will I ever fly into NZ sometime? Yeah, we probably will. I love that shot right there. I can use Sim Toolkit Pro's real weather? Interesting. I will try, you know, I'm not going to do it right now, middle of the stream, but for the next one, I'll do a test and then we'll see. I might try it. Thank you. Paul says, I've had issues logging into Active Sky recently. Login seems to take a few attempts. Paul, no, I don't think I had an issue logging in. I know it asked me to update. That was about it. Can I go over the changelog real quick? It's a lengthy one. And I already closed it. So no, you might have to scroll back and chat. But essentially the big ones that stand out to me are the cockpit texture and color looks much better. I'm going to just go ahead and continue all the way down at 10,000 feet. The PFD looks better with the black attitude indicator box that matches. The colors seem to be reworked, if I remember correctly. The pop-up MCDU is much better than the default one, and the Totemac one that you had was the wrong one, and Toliss original pop-up was incorrect as well. They were simulating two different McDo boxes. That has been fixed. And this McDo matches this one. That's been fixed. Vertical flight planning has been fixed, so the airplane just flies smoother with the autopilot engaged and following the flight director commands. The whole rework of vertical lateral navigation. And yeah, that's the gist of it. Some ISCS fixes, like allowing it to do Toga thrust takeoffs. Thread on up des with you. Yeah, Ramon, no kidding, dude. Giuliani, what's up? He says, Vila, which instruments that we should pay attention the most during ILS approach on final, the PAPI lights, crosser, the PFD, or the pink diamond? Well, if you break out and see the PAPI, you're going to want to follow the PAPIs. Unless you're flying an airliner in real life, just stay on the glide slope. Stay on the glide slope on the way down, because the majority of everybody's going to be on the glide slope, and if people start going higher in the glide slope, I talked about this in my PAPI versus glide slope discussion video. I have a video out on my channel specifically for this topic. You can cause wake turbulence for other aircraft and things like that. But when you're on the ILS, man, you should be monitoring everything. You've got to scan. If you're IMC, you don't see the PAPIs. I mean, you're going to be looking, you know, your speed, altitude, lateral, and glide slope. And when you're on the glide slope, you're going to have your LS buttons up, right? So you really don't have to look at altitude. You're just looking at your diamonds. Localizer, slope, speed. Localizer, slope, speed. It's pretty much what you're going to be referencing when you're IMC. All right, there's 10,000 feet. We're going to continue it all the way down to 5,000. I'm going to select speed 250 knots. We'll get the Spanish speed brakes out. Seatbelts on. Let the cabin know. We're going to do manual brakes on this one. Oh, yeah. Igor says, so is it better than the flight factor? Guys, at this point, I don't... Here is a blanket statement for the whole comparison thing until I can do a video in depth. The Toliss wins in the performance department for frames per second. If you're concerned about frames on your system, Toliss wins hands down, whether it's the 19 or 21. Accurate MCDU FMGS planning. As right now, Toliss is leading that department. What separates them right now is pretty much boils down to the fixed info page. Flight Factor does not have it modeled. Toliss has it modeled. Now you can do point bearing distance in the Toliss 319, which was not modeled before, so that's been up to par. So now your boxes are pretty much comparable with Toliss even having an edge. Texturing. I'd be lying to you if I said the Toliss had better texturing than the Flight Factor. Flight Factor does take the texturing victory column, but that does come at a cost. That's where you go back to the performance issue. Sounds, there's BSS for both of them, so they're tied. It's BSS across the board. Options, Toliss is going to win that because you have actual options, sharklets, wingtip fences, IAE, or CFM engines, and they all actually do something, unlike the 320 when you can mod it. I know I have the 320 Neo mod and sharklet mod. It's all aesthetic. It looks cool, but that's it. It doesn't change the way the aircraft flies or anything like that. So there's my blanket statement on the facts of the Airbuses. Now, how do they fly? Hand fly? To me, for a desktop simulator, they all fly how they should fly, respective to their class. The 319 flies like a 319, in my opinion. 320 flies like a 320, in my opinion. Minus the climbing at cost index 99 across the board. All of them, they don't seem to climb right at cost index 99. 321 handles like a 321 handles for desktop sim. I'm happy with it. So it's up to you to decide which one you want. You really can't go wrong with any of them. You really can't. So there's our debate. We're out of 10,000 feet. Lights are on. Announcements are done. Let's turn up some sound here. Nice and juicy flyby time. What does the LS button do? That's your landing system LS push button. We're going to use that for an ILS so you get guidance. We don't need it on right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn mine off. I can feel the wind bumping already. Hey V1, would you need further line training to fly on other Airbus aircraft? As long as it's a single aisle, no. So the 19, 20, 21, they're all the same. I'm typed and current in all of them. Out of that, you need a new type rating. 350 needs a new type rating. A300's a new type rating. A330, they're all different type ratings. Is minimums calculated like V1 speeds are, and are they different for each plane? Yeah, they're different for each plane. The speeds are different for each plane, for each airport, and each weather condition. It's going to be different across the board. 250, level 5,000 feet. Wow, we got low fast. That's on me. I should have been paying more attention to descent. But we're a little bit lower than normal. But we're okay. We don't quite need the terrain push button on. Ooh, I don't know where I should leave this camera. This camera looks super juicy over here. Where was that view? Man, that looked... Let me just come on forward a little bit here. A little bit more. Yes, sir. Looks like I have frame rate issues. Right now, I'm running 63 FPS while streaming, according to the Avi tab. I think the frames are pretty darn good. When would you use MDA versus DH? It seems to be a popular question lately. The MDA, Liam, is going to be your barometric altitude. Your decision height is going to be a height above the ground, typically from a radar altimeter or RADALT. Where I work, we use MDAs and DAs exclusively unless we're doing Cat 2, Cat 3 approach. That's going to be when you're using a decision height, or you're going to be, doing a Cat 3 auto land, something like that. Even on Cat 1 ILSs, when you have the typical half mile, I think what is it, standard ILS is a half mile and 200 feet, right? So 200 feet MDA, you're going to put it in the MDA box. our Airbus software, it doesn't even have MDA DH. It has radio and baro. That's what ours have. And I think that can depend on different airplanes. Interesting about the frame issue. Yeah, I just got a notification. I think that was an OBS issue. It said my stream might have issues. I think that was an OBS thing there. Hopefully it's smoothed out okay for you guys. It could be stream lag. Yeah, the stream will eventually lag more and more. I think right about 45 seconds is about the lag time. A lot of the streams, though, will, once they're uploaded to YouTube, give them a couple hours, and you can see them in full, 1080p. Sometimes I'll even go back and watch the landings because they look so nice. Because when the first uploads to YouTube, it's not quite. Sometimes the definition is not there. Chat 193, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think hopefully everything seems to be green on my end. Hopefully it's not a stream lag or something. All right, let's take a look, see where we are. Look at the nice little wing flex. That's we're cloud surfing, guys. This is cloud surfing definition right here. I love it when you fly it right over the top. That's cloud surfing as we come off the top. You can see it's windy down there. Yeah, we call it cloud surfing right when you're on top of the clouds. What's up, Max? Waldorf says you're streaming the Toliss early. Yeah, Torsten said it was okay if I stream it, so I just kind of going over some of the beta stuff. Already went through the list of changelog. I think it's pretty fantastic, man. A lot of good changes. Definitely brings the airplane up to up to speed. Oh, interesting. I got that OBS notification again. I apologize, guys, if that stream is really buffering for you. You need to do a stream with the BSS IAE sound pack. It's the best money I've ever spent. We got to get on the IAEs, man, definitely. Everything okay so far, Max? Yeah, it has been fantastic, dude, other than the FlyJ Sim crashed suddenly earlier. But yeah, the 319 has been working like a dream, dude. I'm loving the update. I really do think that it brings the 19 up to that level of the 321 and even surpasses where the 321 was. Which cloud plugin? This is all default clouds right now because Active Sky is off. This is all default clouds now. Is there a reason that the Airbus wing edge lights flash twice on Airbus but only once on Boeing? No idea, man. It's probably just the design of the strobe lights. Maybe because Airbus is better? I don't know. Hopefully Flight Deck Sim wasn't watching. Nah, it all comes down to, I guess, the type of strobe light kit that's installed on the aircraft. Do I use NVINC or CPU? I use... oh gosh. I want to say I use CPU. Do I consider the 321 underpowered compared to other Airbuses? No, not really. Unless we're max loaded, then yeah, it can be a dog. But I don't know what airplane can be a dog. Can't be a dog when it's under max load, except maybe a 7.5 and a 7.2. But the 321 does, I mean, when you're heavy, you do notice the difference in climb performance than a 319, absolutely. I took almost a max takeoff weight 321 out of Las Vegas in the middle of summer, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm not quite sure what that translates to Celsius. Max load, almost max. I mean, we were I think, a couple hundred pounds below MTOW. And it was limited, too. It wasn't the actual of the aircraft, because in real life, you have several limiting factors on your takeoff weight. You have your structural, you have your runway, and you have your performance limited. And, you know, we were limited performance-wise. But we had a hard time. We had to get relief on one of the departures because we could not comply with the altitude constraints on a standard departure that everybody is doing day to day. So it really just depends on the load, I think. How you make the water look good? That's Dimitri's Waterloo. He helped me with that. Tony Doc says, next gen try with the CPU option where X-Wing doesn't use all the CPU. Oh, it's not using the CPU, man. I will make sure it's not on GPU. I think that's why, because I have a lower end GPU. But my GPU right now is sitting at 40%. So my CPU is at 40%. My GPU is sitting right about 86. But I will definitely check it out today to make sure I am not taking all the GPU for streaming. Max says Airbus better for sure. Funny hearing an American say that. It is, yeah, it is. It's ironic. Somebody else mentioned it as well, I believe, on one of the other streams, where I'm an American flying a European aircraft, and flight deck sim's a European who flies an American airplane. It's kind of ironic. Why am I cruising at 4,800 feet? Because I descended a little bit early there, man. I came over one of the fixes that said at or above 10. I thought it was at 10, so that was my mistake. So we're burning up a lot of extra gas here. But nope. Oh, wow. DFB, hopefully we have enough gas to get down. I think we'll be all right. That has a whole mist in it and everything. I definitely thought we were closer than we were. So that was no fault at Toliss. That was just my mistake on my descent planning. I got to talking there. But we're all set up for the approach. We are about 20 miles out from going over the VOR. We'll descend to 3,000 there, and then we will begin our procedure turn and try this VOR circle to land again. I am going to step out and use the lav just before landing, so I will be right back. Enjoy the wing view. Alright, we're back. Let's see where we are here. It's getting darker. It's definitely descended way too early because we've been flying 250 knots for the last 80 miles. Alright, here comes the VOR. And then we're going to do an outbound procedure turn and swing it back around. What water mod is that? Nevada Rocks, it's the it's just X-Vision Vivid preset. Alright, let me make sure everything else is set up here. Oh, altimeter was 30.06. Okay. Perfect. 30.6 is set. Once we cross over the VOR, we'll descend and maintain 3,000. We got terrain on ND mode. It is up. I can probably dim it down a little bit. Don't need that much brightness. Oh, one other thing we got to do. Rad nav. I'm going to hard tune, make FUN a large 211. And I'm also going to put 211 here in this course so I can reference that. Because even though we built it in the flight plan, technically this is a VOR visual approach. And depending on your operator, you may not be allowed to fly a hand-built flight plan. You may have to hand fly it or have somebody on raw data. So we've got our raw data set there. 211 course. RadNav is tuned. We're ready to make it work. Let's do it. You have a missed approach point between Jello and Rosro. Well, that's because it is. The missed approach point comes before Jello and Rosro. So if you don't see the runway, you got to go missed, and I want to go missed. I'm going to be hand flying by this point anyway. This is just a reference for me as I hand fly the approach inbound. Ooh, Madeira in the evening time. That looks cool. Lights just turned on. Beautiful. Ricky says, I had the same problem with the rudder issue. All I did was rubber bands around the heel, and it did the trick. Ricky, dude, fantastic idea, man. I'm going to get some rubber bands after this stream. That's a great idea. Thank you. Boy, Borman says, you're a real Airbus pilot, right? That is correct. And if so, how many flight hours do I have? Ironic you asked this question. I was just telling my wife, I was like, you know, I haven't updated my logbook in the last probably 5 years. So I really need to do that, especially with the current state of everything happening. I would guess, and this is purely a guess right now, I'm probably around that 10, 15,000 hour mark. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't updated my logbook in a very long time. I just got lazy, and it's like, you know, I'm not trying to go anywhere else. But that's a bad attitude to have, and especially when you look at the current state of aviation right now, who knows? So I definitely need to get my logbook up to date and ready to go.
Donation.
I love your Texas accent pronunciation of Rosario. Oh man, I don't even know how I said it wrong. Swappy, coming in with the $1 bomb. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. It's 2 in the night here, but I'm going to watch you do a buttery landing. Also, can you open your flight control page during landing? You forgot last time. Yes, I did. Okay. Guys in chat, help me get the flight control page open. I'm going to come over here and I'll press the flight control button here for landing. Oh, you know what? I guess we can leave it on right now so I don't forget. I will leave the flight control page up for you. Here comes the turn. Let's go ahead and start down to 3,000. I'm going to reduce speed to 220 knots. Actually, you know what? We got a lot. We're not. Oh, let's do 250. We'll keep it at 250. Down to 3,000. Thrust idle, open descent. Outside air temperature is plus 28. We don't need any engine anti-ice or anything like that. It'll be freaking dark by the time we get back around there. We may have to cut the procedure turn short. I will try to butter it, man. We'll see. We got 20 knot crosswind and some gusts and turbulence. There it goes again. The wings are starting to rock. I love it. I love it. Most common route to fly in real life, dude. I don't have a specific route. I would say it's all bid. It's called pref bidding software, PBS. Basically, you bid for preferences like days off, times you want to fly, things like that, and then it will build your schedule based on those. So you don't bid. I mean, you can bid for specific trips, but I bid a little bit differently. Red Tool, thank you. Red Tool, thank you for subscribing, man. Welcome to the channel. Man, I'm loving that horizon set there. Look at the water. I mean, you can tell it's blowing out there because the water is choppy. All right, here comes Fun 08 at or above 3,000. Now this is quite a large procedure turn here. It goes out 30 miles. I don't really want to go out 30 miles, so let's see what happens after that. I'm gonna do a direct FD211. We're gonna overshoot a tad, but I'm gonna shorten up the procedure turn to help lower my radius. I'm gonna come straight back to 180. I know it's recommended 190 knots, but that's a recommended speed, not a requirement. So I'm gonna come right back to 180 knots to help with my radius of turn, so we don't have to go all the way out on this procedure turn because we'd run out of gas. Procedure turn inbound, and it's getting dark, and it's getting dark in a hurry. What terrain lights am I using? This is all exclamation point scenery for the exact scenery that I'm using for Madeira. Screw butter, put it on the numbers, boss. Google, in this wind? Yeah. Definitely, man. Alright, there's the VFE next -10. Let's go flaps 1. And we're almost at 180 knots, so we're going to go straight back to flaps 2. Love seeing that wing flexing out there. I think butter is the last thing you need at the think of it Madeira. Yes, Timothy, agree, man. Especially, man, I saw some. There's a clip on YouTube. I'm sure you guys might have seen it already by now, but it's 4K landings in Madeira, and the dude is sitting. I don't know where he was sitting to get the shot, but it's perfect. You see the airplane come out of the turn on that circle, and then they go right over the threshold and land. Some of those planes, I'm telling you, those landings were smashes. Some were really good, and some definitely looked pretty sketchy because of just the wing rock. I mean, it is definitely looks like a very turbulent approach. I think it would be exhilarating to fly this in real life. I really wish this would be. I don't foresee myself ever flying into here in real life, unfortunately, but man, it looks like it would be just one of those approaches that you are 120% focused, because there is very little room for error. Good thing the runway is, 9,000 plus feet. You do have that going for you. Taurus says, I love these streams. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right. Ricky says, I can't take not having BSS for 321 any longer. I know, man. I know. BSS is a game changer. There's FD211. We're going to proceed inbound to the VOR now. Now, technically, since we are on an RNAV, we could go approach nav. There it is. Approach nav is arm, final lap nav. But essentially what's happening, you're just following a 211 course outbound, so you don't even need to do that. I'm going to end up shutting everything off anyway once we are outbound. What's our VAP going to be? Did I activate and confirm? Also, yeah, so that's already done. VAP is 136 knots. Should be good. We want to cross at or above 2,500 here. Do get a jip whiz warning. I'm going to descend down to 2,000, and I will get a jip whiz warning here as I go over this ridge line. I wonder if I can inhibit that. Let's see. I'm going to inhibit jip whiz. Let's see what happens. Alright, wow, that looks cool. You can see there's the turn, there's the lead on lights. Very Kai-Tech-ish. I was hoping we'd get here a little bit earlier than 1930Z. That was just my mistake, descending to 5,000 feet too early. Or 10,000 feet and just coming in at 250 knots. But we'll make do with it. Speed alt star. 180 knots. We're getting ready to cross over the VOR. Then we're going to pass outbound on the 211. Well, I'm going to put the FO's ND into VOR nav. So you can see we're almost on that 211 course right now. Matter of fact, I might just leave that up over there when it's time. So we'll have that out. And then on landing, I'm going to make sure everything is set up here. I do have track IR on for this approach. I am going to need it. So track IR is activated and centered. That's going to go there. Y'all want to see my flight control inputs? I will put the flight control inputs on the very Bottom. There's that jip whiz.
Terrain.
I'll put my flight control inputs right here. So you can see the input. That's because we're going over the hill there. Alright, we are passing over the VOR as indicated by the needle's flip with 211 outbound. Extend to 1,000 feet. Here we go. I'm going to come back to 170 knots. Get the cabin light ready. .6, so we have the airport in sight, so we are good to continue outbound on the 211. We've got that down there. We're down to 1,000 feet. Let's go flaps 3. Out of order. So if I'm not mistaken, Captain Joe's video, he lowered the landing gear prior to commencing the turn. Gears coming down. We'll reduce speed to 160 knots. Stable. We're waiting for that 6 DME mark, which is indicated on our ND by the waypoint that we put in and by the rad nav page setup. And I'm going to do this all hand flying. So here we go. Autopilot off. Auto thrust off. Give me the bird. Flight directors off. Manage speed. Set that up. Here we go. Flaps full. There's 6 miles. We're starting the turn. So we know Jello is at or above 850 feet. So the first approach I definitely made a little bit too low as we slow to ref. So very shallow descent here in the turn. We do have that wind pushing us from the north at 21 knots. Okay, we've got an interesting vibration in the cabin. Don't like the sound of that. There's our lead-on lights. Can't quite see the runway yet. Another very interesting vibration. Alright, very shallow descent here, looking for 850 as we come over Jello, minimum altitude. Now this is when you really got to start getting that bank in there. Can't quite see the runway yet. Alright, let's start coming down now. Whose idea was this at night? Oh. Landing light on. First officer, could you set go around altitude to 3,000 for me, please? And he would set go around altitude. Now this scenery, because of the terrain, you get a jip whiz because it doesn't quite, I don't think it registers the runways above. I've got constant jip whizzes as we come over the threshold, so we'll ignore them, unfortunately. There's nothing we can really do about them. 500 stable, 2 whites, 2 reds out of the turn, looking good. 23 knot wind, crosswind. Let's get her on center line here.
3. 2. 1. Terrain. 50. 4. Terrain. 6. Retard. Check.
Whew. Spoilers. That wind. Okay, so the rudder definitely helped. Reverse green, try to get back on center line here. I don't want to step on my rudder pedal and go all over the place. .70 knots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. 213, I don't remember what our first landing rate was. I don't know if that was better or worse. I definitely felt a little bit more control with the rudder. It was just after touchdown where I really struggled. All right, let's go ahead and spin it around. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Madeira. We'll go ahead and stow and reconfigure. Technically, you don't really want to reconfigure on a runway, but we got to taxi back. That wind, 20 knot direct crosswind. How's that windsock? Yeah, almost straight out. Man, I was a little bummed. I couldn't get back on center line after touchdown. I thought we touched down nicely, but I couldn't get. I was left to center line. I just couldn't get it back over. Did I just see a truck fall off the cliff? Maybe I'm seeing things. I don't know. I think I'm seeing things. Let's go ahead and get off this runway. That's cleaned up. We'll get the APU fired up. No auto brake, but why? Because I just want to do manual brakes. I think in Captain Joe he actually used medium brakes, but it slows you down too quick. I like hearing the reversers really have to work. Real life procedure would be different, absolutely. I'm fairly certain this would require, or they would at least recommend max auto or medium auto brakes. You can't use max. All right, we'll fire up the APU. Let's turn the lights off. Whew, that was fun. I did not expect it to be so dark, though. Oh well. I had my shot at redemption. And get rid of this flight control page. APU is coming alive. Get rid of that. We can turn the radar off and do our after landing flow here. That's all set up. And APU is available. Yellow electric pump is on. Engine 2 feathered. We'll park it right where we started the stream. Right next to Air Berlin. Uh-oh. Do I have enough juice to make the turn? There we go. Turned into that dead engine. Not a big deal. No parking. We'll use cheat mode. Thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate the time. Interesting. Come on. Give me that juice. Get all the way to the end of the line. You can do it. Brake set. Blind everybody in the terminal. APU is available. Engine 1 can come offline. Seat belts. Spool them down. Prepare doors for Island Crossjack. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madeira. Let's take a look at that approach. PTU kicking off on spool down. Love it. Rear view has been disabled. Check. We're going to throw you guys into replay mode. And let's do a replay. Back it up, back it up. Ooh, right here. Perfect. All right, let's take a look. Can I put flight control up here? No, I can't. Let's watch from this view here. Just killed a ramp worker and another one. Listen to those engine sounds. I was working it, guys. No auto thrust. The reason for no auto thrust on this approach is because of the turbulent nature. Sometimes auto thrust changes can become excessive and do more harm than good. Also noted it in the Captain Joe video. His captain turned off the auto thrust, so that's what I was trying to emulate there. Disengage the auto thrust, hand fly it completely. Oh, but those sounds. Gotta go, guys. Till next one, Christopher W. Have a good one, dude. Jesper, you didn't quite miss Tenerife. My X-plane crashed, unfortunately. Look at that deflection. We worked it all the way down. Spoilers. Oh man. Back it up a little bit. Watch it from right here. Let's check out this engine view right here. Over the water. Glad I had BSS. Ooh, we might have had a perfect three-pointer there. A 1, 2, and 3 with that crosswind. That perfect crosswind landing. 3 separate touchdowns. All right, but you can see, I can already see. So at this point, I'm off center line, and I just couldn't, I don't know, I couldn't correct. I think, I don't want to blame Toliss. I don't want to blame X-Plane. I think that's a hardware issue on my end. So we'll just kind of ignore that. I think the touchdown was better than my first approach. Let's watch a couple exterior shots here. Andrea joined right at the right moment. Absolutely. How do you disconnect auto throttle without getting a warning? So you have to use the auto thrust instinctive disconnect switches, the little red buttons. I don't know if there's an actual binding for them. I haven't found it in settings yet. Or what you can do is move the thrust levers briefly, just bring your thrust levers to idle, and then just bring them right back up to where they were. That will disengage the auto thrust. These are cool lead-in lights over here on the left. I didn't even notice them in the daytime. Undercut it a little bit, I think. But our altitude was much better this go-around. Almost had to come wings level there. The ground speed is at this point, your ground speed is at the lowest because I'm pretty much directly into a headwind. So you shallow out that bank. Now as I turn away from that headwind, it becomes a crosswind, increasing that bank angle. Still 2 whites, 2 reds all the way in. Good, much better on the altitude, I think, on this landing. Look at that crab. Good night. That is a crab angle if I've seen one. I know Dougal likes this view. We'll ride it all the way down. Ooh, a little bit flat. It was definitely hard. Ah, man, it wasn't as pretty as I thought it would be. Could have had more flare in there. Let's watch this in slow-mo. So I've said it before, perfect crosswind landing. You're probably going to have left main, right main, and then the nose gear. So I still needed to kick that rudder over. Didn't quite kick it over. We got the 1, 2, and 3, but we were side-loaded. A little shallow on that flare. I don't know how to get that. I actually went left side stick to get that wing back down. But it still wasn't the prettiest, but man, I tell you what, this is a challenging approach. I loved every single minute of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream as well. Let me throw it into the tower view here. We'll watch a couple more replays. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. That was my shot at the redemption. That win, though, man, that's tough. We didn't get a butter today, but I still had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Hope you learned something. The 1.4 update, the 319, is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait for it to drop. I think you guys are going to love it. It brings the 319 up to where it needs to be. Mod sponsors, donors, thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. Yeah, we just put it down. We put it down in the zone. No floaty there. Mod sponsors, donors, thank you so much for all the work you do here in the chat. Donors, thank you for supporting the channel. Everyone else hanging out in chat, I appreciate you just as much. Hit that like button for me on the way out. You guys stay healthy, stay happy. Until next time, see ya!